Admiral Threxil Vorn had commanded the Dominion's third fleet for 11 cycles, and in all that time, he had never seen his bridge crew go silent like this. The sensor officer's voice cracked. "Admiral, recommend you look at this yourself." On the view screen, drifting out of the ion storm at the edge of the Kestrel belt, was a ship. Not a probe, not a scout. A single vessel, roughly the size of a Dominion light cruiser, but its hull geometry made no sense. Jagged, asymmetrical, built like something had been welded together in a hurry by someone who didn't care how it looked, only whether it worked. "IFF signature?" Vorn asked. "Unknown configuration. But Admiral, the drive signature. It's registering as..." The officer swallowed. "Human." The word landed on the bridge like a dropped weapon. 300 light years away, in a converted shipping hangar on the outskirts of Huntsville, Alabama, a woman named Colonel Nora Callahan was drinking coffee that had gone cold 2 hours ago, watching a bank of monitors with the kind of stillness that made junior officers nervous. "Confirmed telemetry," she said. "Confirmed, Colonel. Kestrel is alive. She's holding position at the Kestrel relay point." The young technician, a former Navy submariner named Danny Ruiz, didn't look up from his console. "She's just sitting there, powered down to minimum signature." "Good," Callahan said. "Let them find her first." 6 months earlier, the first contact hadn't gone the way anyone expected. It wasn't a grand armada descending on Earth with demands. It was a single Dominion reconnaissance drone, damaged and drifting, that crash-landed in the Pacific off the coast of Oregon. When the Navy fished it out of the water, what they found inside wasn't a weapon. It was a message, encoded in a language nobody could read, until a linguistics professor from a small college in Ohio named Elena Marsh cracked it in 11 days using pattern recognition software originally built to decode whale song. The message was simple, and it was terrifying. "This system has been flagged for annexation. Species classification, pending. Resistance classification, irrelevant." The Dominion had encountered thousands of species. They had a formula. Send a probe. Assess technological capability. Send the fleet. It always worked, because no species had ever been foolish enough, or resourceful enough, to build something faster than the probe could report home. Nobody had accounted for humans doing both. Vorn stood from his command chair, staring at the readout. "Run it again." "That's not possible. Their power core signature is a full magnitude beyond anything in their solar system's technological baseline. 6 months ago, this species was flying chemical rockets." "Sir, the signature is human. We're certain of that. But the drive itself," the officer hesitated. "It's not matching any known propulsion architecture. Not ours. Not the Carcelans. Not even the old precursor wrecks we've cataloged. Then what in the void is it?" What Admiral Vorn didn't know, what no one in the Dominion could have known, was that when NASA, DARPA, SpaceX, and a coalition of engineers from a dozen countries had been handed 6 months and a piece of alien wreckage, they hadn't tried to reverse engineer Dominion technology. They'd ignored it. Instead, a propulsion physicist named Dr. Adrian Voss, who'd spent 15 years chasing a theoretical fusion torch design the Pentagon had shelved twice for being too unstable to certify, got a phone call at 2 in the morning. The caller told him the budget was no longer a constraint, safety certifications were suspended, and he had 6 months. Voss built the unstable thing anyway, because a slightly unstable engine that worked was better than a safe engine that didn't exist yet. The ship built around it, christened Kestrel by the engineers who welded her together in a hangar meant for cargo planes, wasn't elegant. She groaned under thrust. Her reactor ran 12% past every safety margin anyone had ever written. But she was fast, faster than anything the Dominion had ever measured. And she was sitting at the edge of their scout route, waiting. "Send a hail," Vorn ordered. "Standard first contact protocol. Establish dominance parameters." The channel opened. On the Kestrel's bridge, Colonel Callahan's voice was flat, unbothered, almost bored. "This is Colonel Nora Callahan, United States Space Force, Vessel Kestrel. You're in a system we've marked as protected. I'd recommend you turn around." Vorn actually laughed, a short, disbelieving bark. "One ship. You have one ship, and you're issuing an order to a Dominion battle fleet." "I'm not issuing an order," Callahan said. "I'm giving you a chance." Vorn cut the channel. "Weapons free. Disable that ship. I want it intact for study." 3 Dominion cruisers broke formation, closing fast, particle cannons charging. On the Kestrel, Danny Ruiz's hands were steady on the console. "Colonel, they're moving to the flank." "Let them," Callahan said. "Voss, you there?" "Down in engineering," Adrian Voss, because of course he'd insisted on flying with his own engine, wiped sweat from his forehead and grinned at the reactor readout. "The reactor's hot. She'll hold. Probably." "Comforting," Callahan muttered. "Ruiz, on my mark." The Dominion cruisers opened fire. Beams of superheated plasma lanced across the void and struck nothing. The Kestrel was already gone, her impossible engine hurling her sideways through space in a burn that should have torn the hull apart, reappearing behind the lead cruiser before its targeting systems had finished recalculating. "Fire," Callahan said. The Kestrel didn't carry Dominion weapons. She carried something the engineers had built from scratch, something crude and brutal, rail-driven kinetic slugs, moving at a fraction of light speed, hitting with the force of a small moon deciding to have an opinion. The lead cruiser's shields didn't shatter. They simply stopped existing, and the slug punched clean through the reactor core. The cruiser didn't explode so much as it disagreed with physics and lost. On Vorn's bridge, the tactical officer's voice was a whisper. "Sir, we just lost the Androvex. One hit." Vorn stared at the screen, at the wreckage tumbling silently through the dark, at the single human ship already burning hard toward his flagship. "That is not possible," he said again, quieter this time. "They shouldn't have this. 6 months ago they had nothing. Should we retreat, sir?" Vorn didn't answer right away. On the screen, the Kestrel adjusted course, unhurried, almost contemptuous, and opened another hailing channel. Callahan's voice filled the bridge, calm as a Tuesday morning. "Last chance, Admiral. Turn your fleet around. Report back to whoever sent you, and tell them Earth isn't on the list anymore. Or don't, and I'll make sure there's nobody left to send the report." For a long moment, no one on the Dominion bridge spoke. Then Vorn, staring at the wreckage of a ship that had outclassed his best cruiser without taking a single hit, said the only thing that made sense. "Full reverse. Get us out of here. Now." The remaining Dominion ships turned and fled into the dark, carrying home a report that no one in the Dominion High Command would fully believe, that a species flying chemical rockets 6 months ago now had warships that shouldn't exist, built by people who didn't wait for permission to be impossible. Behind them, the Kestrel held position at the edge of the Kesserine belt, quiet, patient, and very, very human.